Yes.
Good. All right. Well, hi everyone and welcome. I'm Gustav from Oraseya Capital. We're the most active venture capital investor here in the UAE. We're super excited to be co-hosting today's session because we know it's crucial, especially in this region, for startups to get their legal foundations right. So whether you're just starting out, fundraising, scaling fast, having the right structure, agreements, and governments in place, it's not nice to have in this day and age. It's essential. And that's why we're thrilled to have Hisham Kassim, who's the managing director at Kassim Legal, with us today. He works closely with many of the region's top startups and investors and brings a wealth of practical experience to the table. So if I understand correctly, this session will be interactive. So please don't be shy. Bring your questions, share your experiences, take advantage, and learn from someone who's best in the field at what they do. While Hisham is presenting, please stay on mute, and if you have a question, raise your hand, and we can go from there. But with that, over to you, Hisham.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. Thank you to you, Gustav and Oraseya, for organizing this. I think this is the second or third time we do this together, so I'm glad we're continuing. I see we have about 12 people attending, which is good actually. That means all of you get to speak. As Gustav mentioned, we're a small firm. We're about 10 lawyers, and this is all we do. We just do venture. We represent startups and venture funds, and we've been doing this for about 15 years in MENA and in the US. So that's sort of our specialty. If I can, because I don't have a lot of information on who is attending, maybe we'll do a show of hands. You can raise your hand using one of the buttons. I'll do some polling. I'll ask a question, and if it applies to you, raise your hand, and if it doesn't, don't raise your hand. So, how many of you are a founder or part of a startup? Let's see how many we have. We have 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so about half are, oh no, we have more. We have about 10. Okay, so I think it's safe to assume almost everyone on this call is part of a startup. Anyone a investor, angel investor, or works for a venture fund, or if you could raise your hand. So we have 2. We have Mazen. Okay, so half and half. Okay, great. And for the startups, I just want to get a feel for where you are. How many of you have raised a Series A? Let's start there. If you raise your hand that you've closed or you're about to close a Series A. Okay, none. So how about a seed round, few million or few 100,000 convertible notes or safes? How many of you have raised money? Any kind of money. Let's make it simple. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So I think you're all early stage, raised money or not raised money. Okay, great. How many have not raised anything? They're part of a startup. They're just starting. They haven't raised any money. Okay, good. So we have 6 people, startup. 2 more questions and I'll be done. Of the investors in the room, who's made more than 5 investments as an angel? Just want to know, get a feel for how active. Okay, Raed has made more than 5. Who's made at least one investment, whether in a friend's company, friend's startup? Got 2. Okay, 3. Adnan. Okay, 3. And last question is, how many of you work for a venture fund or whether as an advisor or an associate or venture partner, they call it. I know you work at a venture fund, Peter. So that's good. Okay. All right. All right, Raed, you're going to be my investor guy. Okay, great. So we are lucky in that we're only 12. So you can set the agenda. We've been doing this for so long. I actually have uploaded the 4 or 5 most common presentations that we give so we can go around the room and see what are you most interested in. Is it convertible notes? Is it founder equity? Is it ESOP, safes? I mean, you name it, we've probably seen it and done it before. So we can, maybe I'll call on someone I'm going to call on Raed. Raed seems to be the most active. Raed, are you there? Or did he
Yes.
leave? أهلا.
No,
How are
but
you?
last question. I'm not working as a venture capital. كنت رافع اسمي بالغلط. بس I
okay.
raised more than 5 وأسئلة قبل yes.
Okay. So if you had your dream agenda for a legal workshop, what would be the number one topic for you?
هلا هو ايش الفرق او احنا كثير عم نواجه احنا وي ريزد هلا فاندز از انجلز كان
Okay.
كثير عندنا negotiations بين دايركت ايكويتي وسيف نوت
Safe
اوت
note.
اوف ذا 5 يس اعطينا واحد دايركت ايكويتي قدرنا نعطيه دايركت ايكويتي لانه كان في له كثير فاليو بالشركه فوي اجريد انه نعطيه دايركت ايكويتي اذرز وقعناه مع سيف نوتس غلبونا كثير ايش معنى هذاك اخذ دايركت ايكويتي واحنا سيف نوتس فهذا كان الدايلما اللي قعدنا معهم فيها يعني.
Can we do this in English? I don't think everyone speaks Arabic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So we had the group of 5 angel investors. The first one, we gave him a direct equity, as he will add a lot of value to our startup. The other 4, we signed safe notes with them, but we had a dilemma with them. They say why the first one had a direct equity and we are now on safe notes. They wanted to be treated the same, but I was sticking to my mind. If you wanna have direct equity, we can't do right now, just a safe note.
All right. So
this is the dilemma that we mainly face.
So difference between equity and safe and pros and cons of each. Okay, so that's topic 1. Who has a startup? Who's raised a seed round? Let me ask. Could someone raise their hand? Maybe it's Anam. I think Anam Shah. Okay, Mazen, you've raised a seed round? Mazen Darwish.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, Mazen. You have a startup, right?
Yes, we have a startup in Jordan, and
Okay.
we've raised a seed round.
Okay. What is the number one topic, legal topic on your what keeps you up at night thinking?
Yeah.
Have a legal nightmare. What's your legal nightmare? Right? That's what we're asking.
Okay, let me say the situation briefly. So now we have the company in Jordan, and it has a couple of investors and founders, and now we're talking with some investors in Saudi to launch there, but we're not sure about how will the legal framework will be, because we have a company in Jordan, want to open another one in Saudi.
Yeah.
Should we let them in holding on Jordan, only Saudi? So
okay.
It's a little bit unknown how we're gonna do it.
Good. All right. So holding companies and where to register and how to structure your company. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. I need one more topic. Who wants?
We received a question in the chat that says ESOPs in KSA, how they work and what structure is used.
They don't work in KSA. They don't work anywhere in our world. That's very simple. They have a law. We have a law in Jordan too. We have one in Egypt. But so I'm going to put the ESOP under the holding company. So I'm going to put that under the second topic. But I want a third topic. Anyone have a fight with their founder or co-founder? Any drama? No, you're all very well adjusted. Everyone's happy with their co-founder. No one has had a fight with their co-founder. Anyone have a fight with their investors or a dispute or
Good
Ahmed?
morning. If you allow me to speak,
Yes,
Mr.
please.
Hisham. Morning, everyone. Unfortunately, I had an issue. I looked for an investor on one of the websites, and I met one guy in. I'm in the UAE, so I met the guy in Dubai, and we verbally agreed that he will invest an amount of money. Then my biggest mistake, I let him in the trade license, and
You
he
didn't pay.
escaped. He didn't invest a penny, and I have lost a lot of money, and in trying to file a case against him to get him out of the license. But eventually, I noticed that this is impossible. And once you get someone in a trade license, it's
Move
impossible to remove him.
Mazboot.
So yeah,
That's correct. In UAE, Saudi, Jordan, Egypt, Lebanon, wherever you go in the Arab world, that actually also falls under the second topic of the holding company.
yeah.
But
So I kept the license. I will just leave it as it is, and I will. I don't know. Maybe I will create a new license or a new company name. I don't know. So yeah, just wanted to share this.
Thank you. So I'm going to start with the holding company, which addresses Ahmed and Mazen, and I'm sure many, many other people. And that is where to register, why is it important? And then we'll do the difference between safe and equity. But we'll start at the top, where to register your startup. So if I can share screen, here we go. Okay, so as we said, keep it interactive. Raise your hand even while I'm presenting. Either Lema or Gustav will keep track and they'll interrupt me and say someone has a question. So the conventional wisdom is you need to register a holding company. And this holding company sits at the very top of your pyramid. And this holding company will own the company in Jordan, Saudi, UAE, Egypt. I don't know if you're operating in Singapore, it'll own that company, but all the investors and the founders have to be in a holding company. And there are only 4 or 5 places to register the holding company. And they're listed here. It's Cayman, ADGM. Do you all know what ADGM is? If someone doesn't know what ADGM, raise your hand. I think you've all heard about it. Yeah. No. Okay. So ADGM is a free zone in the UAE. It's actually in Abu Dhabi. They've done very good marketing. They peddle this to startups and they force them or they encourage them to register there. There's also the US, Delaware, which is the oldest and biggest and most well-known, and it's actually the jurisdiction we go to 80-90% of the time. And Netherlands, but that's for Egyptian companies. There's a weird tax treaty between Egypt and Holland, so a lot of Egyptian startups go to the Netherlands. Do we have any startups from Egypt? No, I don't think we do. Okay. So why these countries? Why do we tell Khalid, you have your hand up, Khalid Al-Banna, or by accident?
Yeah. No problem. Thank you, Hisham. Thank you, Hisham. Sorry, always you have interesting topics to talk about when it comes to legal stuff. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate your webinar. So basically, I know I'm actually the reason I'm joining this webinar. I'm not basically I provide fractional CFO services for multiple startups, but your question regarding the conflict is something I noticed lately, not lately, but since I started my practice 5-6 years ago, that maybe there is no clarity of who's doing what between co-founders. For instance, when it comes to the managing financials, the who's doing what, why. I mean, what I noticed that both co-founders should sometimes need to look into the financials and the strategic stuff and fundraising, etc. And I believe that created a big conflict because, and I think I need to hear your opinion on that, of course, and those on this webinar. I don't think that it is advisable and recommended that both co-founders should look into the nitty-gritty details of the business. One of them should focus on the, let's say, the board meetings, strategic direction of the business, fundraising, looking into the financials, monitoring the business, and the other one should basically look at the operation, because it is assumed that this guy is or the other co-founder is operational, CTO, CDO, it's you name it. And that's something I noticed you know, during that. I hope that you understand my question, and it's good that we shed some light on that. Thank you very much, Hisham.
So co-founder roles. Okay. All right. All right. That'll be topic 3. So now we have 3 topics. That's usually enough to cover an hour, hour and a half. Okay, but the first topic is the holding company. So we covered where to incorporate. Now, founders always ask, and investors, why do we need to have a holding company, and why in these countries? And the reason is these countries separate control from ownership. So if you go to Saudi or Jordan or Egypt, whoever owns 51% of the company controls the company. I can't separate who owns from who controls. In these countries, I can have someone own 1 share, but they have all control. This is the reason why this is the primary reason why we go to one of these countries. This concept, this legal concept it does exist, but it's not used in Arab civil law countries. And Arab civil law countries means all the Arab countries that base their civil code on the Ottoman code. I don't know if anyone's interested in the history, but that's where the Arab world legal system comes from. So in Ahmad's case, who invested and didn't get their money? Ahmad. So in Ahmad's case, when you gave the investor shares and he didn't pay, if we were in one of these countries, I could have returned the shares from the investor without going to court even. You can just tell the registrar the investor didn't pay, they want some proof, and then the registrar will remove the shares from the investor and give them back to the company. This is not possible in UAE or KSA or Jordan. And someone else had a question on ESOP. So again, in Jordan has an ESOP law. KSA has an ESOP law. Egypt has one. They're all very similar to each other. It says you can have non-voting shares and give them to your employees. But what you want is if one of your employees leaves early, you want to be able to get back your shares. Or if they leave as a bad leaver, they steal money from you. Even if they have shares, you want to be able to take them back without having to go to court and file a case and, do this big mess that I'm sure, Ahmed, you tried to do. So in these countries, your ESOP plan is under your control. You get to decide who has shares, who vests, when they vest. If they are a bad leaver, you can return the shares back. Any questions before we move to the next part? Okay. So these are the terms that venture funds want, like a venture capitalist or a VC firm or an angel investor. they usually want certain rights. They want to sit on your board. They want anti-dilution. They want veto rights on certain things. They cannot get these rights in other countries. They can only get them in Cayman, ADGM, or the US, or in some cases, Holland. Now, there's always a question of where to register. The problem with our part of the world, MENA, is we have too many choices. You ask 5 lawyers, each one will give you a country. There's a very big push for ADGM. There is a fear to register in Delaware because of the tax, but we've been doing this for so long, we still don't find the benefit. I still haven't found a jurisdiction that's better than Delaware. We still do ADGM and we can do Cayman, but the default for us is still Delaware unless I have a good reason to go somewhere else. So if you are Saudi founder, do we have any Saudi founders? Or a UAE founder, UAE national? Okay, Abdullah. So if you're a GCC national, for you it makes sense to open an ADGM because there's a tax benefit between UAE. Saudi will treat ADGM as a Saudi company because you are a GCC national. So in your case, we make an exception. We go to ADGM so you can take advantage of this tax benefit. For everyone else, that unless there's a very good reason, we almost never go anywhere else. Cayman, it's very hard. Anyone registered in Cayman, by the way? No one registered in Cayman. Anyone registered in ADGM? Oh, Abdullah, you registered in Cayman?
Yes, Hisham. I just came. I have a company in ADGM and I have a company in Saudi.
All of them, right? Okay.
Yeah, I've tried everything.
Yeah, okay. The Cayman, I'm still curious. We have an issue with Cayman with opening bank accounts. Were you able to open a bank account?
I do not do any transactions through the Cayman entity. I do it all through the Saudi entity.
Okay, but have you tried to open a bank account or
To be honest, no.
no?
But
Okay.
I know some people that tried, and it's not that hard, but it's a bit let's
Okay.
say not easy.
Yeah. So that's the main issue with Cayman is banking. You can open a bank account, but it's very hard, very expensive, and the type of bank account you get is not great. So we've heard, I mean, we can't open the bank account for you, but we've heard from clients that they can't integrate payments, they can't, some can't even get online banking. So Cayman has a banking issue, and I know many people don't do financial transactions with Cayman, but technically, if you're raising money and Cayman is your holding, all the money needs to go to Cayman. So, but I'm guessing what happens is all the investment funds go to the Saudi entity, and then you say it's actually an investment in Cayman, right?
Yeah, it is this way.
Yeah, yeah. Which makes your bookkeeping in Saudi a little bit more. I mean, we have clients that do this, but the best structure is the investment funds go to the holding company, and then the holding company disperses it. So the reason why we do Delaware is it's very easy, it's very inexpensive. You can open a bank account unless you're from Yemen or Syria. You can open a bank account online. The bank account integrates with all payment gateways. They have online banking. You know, it's very, very easy to register a company there. There is a fear or some, I don't know what to call it, but there's a resistance to Delaware because of the tax. You are taxed in Delaware on your profit, like you would be if you're a foreign company in Saudi, you're taxed on your profit. And now UAE has a tax of 10%. The tax in Delaware is 21%. In Saudi, I think it's 25. So the world is converging on this 20% number. So I think, I think UAE now is 10. Over time, it'll get closer and closer. I don't think it'll ever hit 20, but so I think when you compare the tax regimes of the world, they're all converging around this 20% number. The Cayman and BVI are zero tax jurisdictions. So that's another reason why people like them. But we tell most startups, you have a long way to go to become profitable. Most startups, it takes them 4, 5, 6 years to post a profit. And even if they do post a profit, they're reinvesting those profits anyway. Your type of business doesn't have like dividend distributions like the electric company or the gas company, right? You are supposed to keep growing until there's a big exit. So the tax is usually, it's not a major issue for startups. Let me ask Abdullah, when you registered your company in Cayman, who did you use? Clara, or did you use Walkers, or you had to use an agent, right?
It was Walkers at the beginning, then we switched to Clara.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to share this with you, and we also have holding company. So because we get this question a lot, we did this sheet that compares Delaware, BVI, Cayman, and ADGM, and the cost and expense of each one, and the pros and cons of each jurisdiction. What type of business do you have, Abdullah? Is it a SaaS marketplace?
It's all SaaS.
It's all SaaS. Okay, so
Okay.
are you B2B or B2C?
I have a logistics company. It's a aggregator. It's B2B only, and B2G. And I have another one. It's a legal tech. It's SaaS. B2B, B2C, B2G, B2B2C.
Okay. So for many of you, the main issue is going to be the payment gateway, right? Unless you're working in one country, Saudi, if you're, let's say, you have a more regional or global product and you're selling a SaaS or subscription or marketplace where you're making small amounts of money from a lot of people, the payment gateway becomes the most important factor for most startups. And I've heard nightmares about ADGM's payment gateway integration. Stripe doesn't always connect. It's very hard to integrate payment gateways to a Cayman or BVI bank account. It's really only the US that has full integration with Stripe, with PayPal, they have hundreds of payment gateways, so you can pick the one you want. And there is an ease of doing business. We found ADGM to be the hardest to work in, and then Cayman a little bit easier, and Delaware the easiest to work in. So I'll share this as well, and I'll stop sharing and see if we have questions. So this is the holding company. Mazen, did this answer your question? Mazen Darwish?
Yeah, I think it's clear. So basically, you say that Delaware is the best of the four, or
No, we're saying most of the time, 80-90% of the time, it's Delaware, unless you have some, unless there's something unusual, there's a special circumstance, then we go look for something else. But if I don't know anything about you and I don't know anything about your business and you're just a generic vanilla startup, the default is Delaware. Ahmed.
May I ask, is ADGM or DFIC are the only two entities in the UAE to register the company, or what about Masdar City Free Zone?
No, only you need what they call common law jurisdiction, and the only two that I know of are DIFC and ADGM. ADGM and DIFC are virtually identical to each other. There's a slight preference for ADGM. I don't know why. They have better marketing. But in general, ADGM and DIFC are very expensive, very difficult. And unless you have a very good reason for having a UAE company, like the owners are all Saudi or GCC nationals, we usually don't even touch it. Raed.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the IFC, but just you answered with this question.
Yeah, so I think for most of you that are SaaS marketplace, it will be, we usually recommend Delaware. And then for the investors, so if you have investors, let's say in your Jordanian, who has investors in their Jordanian company? I think this is Ahmed, right? Ahmed Amir, someone has investors, or is that Mazen?
No.
Yeah, it's me.
It's you. Okay. You have, so your investors in Jordan, do they own shares or is it a safe?
No, they own shares.
They own shares. Now, in the future, if you want to remove them, it's virtually impossible to remove them, right? So you have to stay on good terms with them. So the moment we bring in money from third parties, that's when we register the holding company, because that's when I need the protection that I can get in one of these countries. Because okay. So I think
I had a question, Hisham, if I can.
Yeah, please.
So if you have like Saudi investors coming in, does it have a benefit for them to have like an ADGM instead of Delaware, or because I know some people in Saudi they registered their holding company in ADGM.
Yeah, and the reason for that is the founders are Saudi, so they benefit from the tax treatment. But if I'm an investor in a Delaware, if I'm Saudi and I invest in a Delaware, Cayman, or ADGM, it's exactly the same for me as a investor. But it makes,
understood.
Yeah. So I know there's a push to move people towards ADGM, but through the years we've discovered it's not very easy to work there. Okay. Anything else? Let's see. Anyone else have questions? Marwan?
Yeah, sorry. Really sorry. I asked too many questions, but I promise it should be the last one.
No, it's okay.
So now, just in my case, I'm an Egyptian living in the UAE, and I have the startup, but I haven't raised anything yet.
Yeah.
So where should I register the company in this case? As you said, the ADGM and the IFC won't be, good options. But as I'm living in the UAE, I'm a permanent resident in the UAE, for example. So what are the options? Thank you so much.
I still do Delaware. I mean, unless you need the UAE company for an iqama, a visa, a lease, I would register in Delaware.
No, it's not for Iqama, but because the business is in the UAE, so won't this need a company registered in the UAE? I mean, will the authorities approve a company registered?
What is your business?
It's an online pharmacy platform.
Okay, so you see now you need, if you want to deliver medication in UAE, you need special license from Ministry of Health, right?
Correct.
In your case, you actually wouldn't go to ADGM. You'd probably do a mainland, get the permission to deliver, because there's a special online pharmacy license you need to get, and have the mainland be owned either by ADGM or by the US. But see, so in your case, because you need this extra license, you need an entity but a mainland company, not one from ADGM.
All right. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So anyone in health, real estate, the licensing requirements are more stringent for those commercial activities. So you will often need to have a mainland or onshore company to get the license, and then that will be owned by your holding company.
Hisham, we have a few questions that have come up in the chat. So I'll read some of them off, sort of one by one. First one is, when should the holding company be set up? As an early stage startup, should we bear the cost of setting up the holding and transferring the IP now, or wait until an investor has made a hard commitment to invest?
You really needed, I mean, this is why we go to Delaware. It's not an issue to register a company in Delaware if you're going to start selling, let's say. Let's say you need a company, you have an app and you want to start selling. So we only register if there's a commercial need. So if you're still developing and you don't have a product and you aren't going to sell anything, then don't register it yet. But if you need to post the app on the App Store, or you're going to enter into your first contract, then we can register. So in the UAE and Cayman, because the cost is higher, people delay registering. In Delaware, it's much lower, so you can actually register early. I don't know if that answered. Who asked this question?
Let's
Christian.
see. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, we spoke earlier this year in February, maybe. It's a net zero build from Sweden.
Oh.
I'm cycling, so that's why I didn't.
Okay. Where are you?
The question about the transferring was, since we already have a Swedish company and we are now registering a Saudi company, but eventually we'll need to have a holding either in Delaware or ADGM. So my question was, should we initiate the process now, or should we wait until investors said yes, we're in, then we register? Because it's we already have some safes that needs to be moved an IP from the Swedish company to the Delaware company. It's a process and cost. My question was, should we take it now or should we take it later?
You're further along, so you could do it now. I mean, do you have your first investor? I mean, do you have anyone on the horizon? Have you signed a term sheet?
We're discussing term sheet right now, like in the next 3 months, probably 4.
So we could do it now. Like now is because what you don't want is that I want to do this while you're doing your capital raise. I want to do it like a month before your capital raise, so that you're not overloaded and overwhelmed, right?
Yeah. Okay, answer the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
We also had a question about the Qatar Financial Center and your thoughts on that.
Okay. About which one? The
Qatar Financial Center.
Yeah, so Qatar Financial Center is competing with ADGM and DIFC. We have one startup in the Qatar Financial Center, and it's only because they were getting a grant or a big investment from someone in Qatar. But again, unless there's a good reason to go out of Delaware, we don't. But in that case, they were getting a few million as a grant and some investment, and they were getting perks. So we went ahead with it. But if you don't have very clear, compelling reason, then we won't register there. Someone asked about BVI. So BVI is this very similar to Cayman. Opening bank accounts is another can of worms. This is Hassan. Hassan, what has your bank account experience been like?
Hi, folks. So actually, we worked with a lot of startups. I mean, for my own startup, I'm still in the process. ADGM is still to issue the endorsement letter. I think I'm going to hit that wall very soon. But for many of the startups that came to Abu Dhabi, setting up registration was easy, like days. But then bank accounts, because of KYC issues, it was just taking forever. So many startups, they gave up and they left and they went to other jurisdictions. So I've been told that, listen, it's just expect trouble when that happens. So I've actually had to position, I mean, we being strategic, I've had to position my wife, who's a British national, to be on the license to smoothen that process. So I mean, hopefully that'll work out for us.
You know, but what do you have? You have a fund? You have a startup? You have
I've got a startup. It's a social network.
Okay. Actually, you're a very good candidate for Delaware because you're making money how? Selling advertisements, subscription.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're actually perfect. I wouldn't touch ADGM with a 10-foot pole for your company. Yeah, opening a bank account is getting very difficult in the UAE, and the main reason for this is UAE got on a gray list, I think 3-4 years ago, and they've been desperately trying to get off this gray list, so they're making everyone's life miserable. So free zone, yes, we've heard about that KSA is developing free zones. I haven't seen the rules. I don't know if these are going to be common law, which is what we need for investment, or whether they're going to be like other free zones in the UAE, which are based on the UAE civil code. So even if there's a KSA free zone, unless it's a common law free zone like ADGM or DIFC, it still wouldn't help. We still wouldn't register your holding company there. Oh, this is also Christian. Okay. And then appreciate a comparison with ADGM. I can share the screen, Marwa. Is Marwa on the call? Marwa is silent. Okay. And what efficiencies have you experienced with ADGM? So first, they give some nationalities a very hard time. The ones we've seen are people from Lebanon or Syria or Iraq or, I mean, we haven't had anyone from Yemen, and from Egypt. So there's a certain level of discrimination. The other thing is their KYC requirements are becoming more and more strenuous. So you need to submit passport, proof of address, source of funds. They want your LinkedIn profile. And that's fine if you're 2 or 3 founders, but when you have 30, 40 people on your cap table one day, I mean, our clients that are in ADGM, they have a person basically not full-time, but almost full-time, just dealing with the KYC request. It's huge burden on companies. The other inefficiency is any transfer of shares, any issuance of shares, appointing a board, removing a board. I mean, a board member. It's an application. You have to submit it. You have to pay filing fees. It's a thing. It takes 2-3 weeks, and it's someone's project. Versus in the US, where it's a resolution, people sign it, and that's it. It can be done instantly. And you've also heard the issue about bank accounts. It's also very hard to open bank accounts. We're setting up Mark. We're facing cost. That's a lot, Mark. Why are you spending 20,000 AED? Where is Mark? Is he on?
That's what I am wondering as well.
Okay.
Why we're spending this. So that's why I was very interested in this session.
These are the costs. These are not our fees are the same, whether you go to ADGM or Cayman or Timbuktu, we don't really differentiate. These are the expenses. The cost to register is these are all USD. There's annual state tax of 600-700, sometimes it's 1,000. You have to file tax returns. Your first few years, you'll have simple tax returns. It'll be about 1,500. And then you can get a virtual mailbox for 150, but you don't have to. So the cost is infinitely less. And it's not, the only thing due now is the 650. Everything else, this is due in March. This is due in April of next year. So if you register now, these things won't be due until next year. Registered agent is due the year after you incorporate. So this is not, this 220 is included in the 650. It covers you for 1 year. I mean, the cost is, it's night and day between the two. And that's pretty much it. You don't, if you want to remove a director, there's no extra cost. You want to issue shares, there's no extra cost. You want to adopt an ESOP. Whereas in ADGM and Cayman, they're tax-free, but they take their money out somehow. So every time you go to them, there's an invoice and you have to keep paying. Is this your ADGM license? Is that through Clara? Are you doing this through Clara?
No, through another service provider.
Okay. Is it a SPV license or is it?
Yes, it is an SPV license, and I mean we haven't signed anything yet.
Yeah.
So we already have on another business. We have already a corporation in Delaware.
Okay.
But it didn't cross my mind for this at all. So I did not have that on the radar.
Yeah. SPVs in ADGM, you can't work for them. You can't get a visa. You can't get an iqama. The sole purpose of the SPV is to bring in money from investors and distribute profits. It's non-operational. Delaware and Cayman both allow you to have the holding company also be operational. So who has that social network site? I think it's Hassan or Hassan. Where's the social network site?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, are you the one with the social site?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in your case, you don't need, so Delaware allows the holding company to also be the operating company. That's perfectly fine. You can't do that in ADGM. You need to have an SPV and you need to have an operating company. So you need to have two. Khaled is
Okay, thank you.
unhappy with the banking. So are we, Khaled. We're unhappy with the banking. So for Delaware companies, we have two partnerships. Mercury, this is a neobank. Most startups open there. And we have one with Silicon Valley Bank, and we're working on a third one. So we try to, cover all, not just the legal. I mean, I know we're just attorneys, but we know you need a bank account, you need someone to file your tax returns, you need someone to do your books. So we try to at least have partnerships to cover the whole cycle. I don't have partnerships in ADGM. I don't think anyone has a partnership in ADGM. They're not very friendly. Okay. All right. Can we go another half hour, Gustav? Because I want to go through the ESOP versus equity.
Absolutely.
Is that okay, guys? Yeah? Okay. See, two topics. Okay, so we have, even though we didn't go through everything, but we'll share the full folder with you. It's fine, you can have it. So this is safes and notes and what are they and how they work. So by the way, you guys should follow Napkin Finance. They do great like little drawings of very complex financial arrangements and they put it on the napkin. So who did the safe equity? Was that Ahmed? Ahmed Amir, right? All right, so the reason why we use safes. So if you're an early stage startup, bye Hassan. So the reason we use safes is if you're an early stage startup, you may not know what your value is as of now. You may have some tech, 1 or 2, 3 customers, some revenue, but you don't have 5 years of cash flow to do a proper analysis. So the SAFE is a way for investors to invest without putting a valuation, without saying you are worth now $2.3 million. It's much easier to invest by SAFE or convertible note, and it costs less and you can get your money faster. Investors also like it because they don't want to spend a lot of time and money negotiating equity documents, which are 40, 50 pages long. Safes are 6, 7 pages, so it's much easier. So valuation, should we do valuation? I think everyone loves valuations. Okay, so this is a valuation from not a finance perspective, just what we've seen over and over again. So if you are, okay, so startup A, I want to call on someone who hasn't spoken yet. Who hasn't spoken yet? Marwa hasn't spoken, or Mustafa. Hisham, you have the same name as me. Hisham, you have to speak. Hisham Assaf.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. How are you?
Good, alhamdulillah.
Okay. Do you have a startup?
I'm a founder and general manager in a company in DTech since 2017. So it's not mainly a startup then.
Okay. I need someone with a startup. Who has a startup? Like a brand new one, early stage.
We're 1 year, 1.5.
1 year. Okay. Christian, all right. Now, how much money do you need for the next 18 months budget?
We're currently raising 1 million, and it's around 40 months we are calculating.
No, I just need it for 18 months. How much do you need for a year and a half? Is it 1 million?
1 million, let's say.
Okay. Now, are you a I don't know how old you are. Are you a first-time founder? You new college grad? Where are you in the age experience?
Okay. First-time startup founder. I've started other companies, but not in the VC world.
Okay.
I have 15 years experience in corporate and private equity.
All right. So
in real estate.
Yeah. All right. So I know we're cheating. We're cheating the finance people. I don't know who the fractional CFO guy is not going to be happy with me. So usually in an early stage startup, you have a product, you have some customers, you don't have a lot of revenue, maybe 10K a month in revenue, and you need $1 million. So the way we've seen it over and over again, there's a rule of thumb. If you're an experienced startup founder, you've done 2, 3 exits, you will sell about 10% of your company for the $1 million. If you're new college grads, no experience, you're going to sell about 20%. In your case, you're probably between 12 and 15%, Chris. So what are you selling? What's the valuation cap?
We're 10 post money, so 9 pre-money. So some investors are a little bit now negotiating with us to go to 8, so we will actually land on 12.
Yeah. So, yeah. See, it works. These rules really work. I don't know why, but they do work over and over again. So I think run your analysis. This isn't a substitute for having a CFO or having financial models, but just keep it in the back of your mind that this is sort of the range that we see over and over again. So at a 10 million, if you're raising $1 million and you are selling 10%, the pre-money valuation is 10 million. And if you're selling 20%, the pre-money valuation is 5. You should be between 7, 8, around there, Christian. Is that where
I had a meeting yesterday with investor, and they said it's too stretch for us 10, but we will agree on 8 or something.
So that is our valuation. It's very easy. So it's a rule of thumb. Anyone want to share their experience? Abdullah, you had your hand up. No? Okay. Anyone else want to share their capital raise? Let's make sure this rule of thumb still works. Anyone invest in a safe? Yeah? No.
I can share, like, just like I speak to a lot of investors right now. It's like in the early, like, pre-seed, they have ranges. So because there's nothing to calculate on, let's say CAC or like many KPIs. There's no KPIs. So they want to say maximum that we can go in our ranges should be this.
Yeah.
So that's the really that's how they even invest. Right. It makes sense the case. They will just say maximum we can go is this one, because that equals the calculation for their return.
Okay. Yeah.
And
yeah, so they're going at it on, I need to own X because if you exit at Y, I'm going to be able, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's between 10 and 20. I don't actually know the reason why, but I do know this formula keeps showing up over and over again.
This makes sense from the perspective of if somebody's really beginner, first time in business, the risk is higher.
Yeah.
So, for example, I was not experienced in the VC world, but I'm experienced in negotiation, contract making, sales. So yeah.
Okay.
So less experience, higher risk for investors.
Yeah. So for convertible, no. Okay. So that is, notes. Where is it? Here it is. We did this. Okay. Do you guys know how safes are calculated? How you convert the price per share? Is that of any interest to anyone? It's math. So if you're not interested, it's fine. I don't have to do it. But maybe we could go through. So this is the primary reason people use safes is it's early. I don't have track record. I don't want to put a value. So I'll do a valuation cap. So I know I'm going, the maximum value will be 6, 7, 8 million. And then if the valuation is lower, I'm going to convert at the lower price. But if it's higher, I won't convert at the higher price. I'll convert at my ceiling. It's a way to delay pricing, to put a price on the company. In a safe, the investor wants very little rights. They want information rights, monthly updates, annual financials. If they ask you for a board seat, so based on our research, board seats are commonly given to people that invest 500,000 or more. Anything less than that, you should push back on anyone having a board seat. There was a study that came out from the Texas Angel Group, and they've looked at 60, 70 companies, and the average was people put in about $500,000 or more. Those were the people that had board seats. So anyone experiencing this where someone put in 50,000 and they want a board seat? No. Good. You guys are lucky. So in terms of so the other common point for safe is investors will usually tranche the investment. So if you want $1 million, for example, from an investor, it's very unlikely for them to give you the full $1 million up front, especially if you're early stage and they don't know you very well. It's more common for them to take the $1 million and split it into 2 or 3 payments. They'll say, I'll give you 300,000 now, 300,000 when you achieve milestone A, and milestone A can be you have 5 customers, you have, I don't know, 5,000 in revenue, 60 views on your website, and I'll give you the final once you hit milestone B. So expect some tranching, especially early on. Anyone have experience with tranching, or is this happened to them? think everyone's tired and they want to get off. So we'll go back to Christian. So you want
Yep.
8. Actually, you want 10, and they want 8, right?
Yep.
Can I say that?
7, 8
Okay.
they said, but I will push to 8.
Yeah. So this actually happens a lot. So the founder wants 10 million, and the VC will say 8. Okay. Luckily, you're not far apart. So what we've done before, I don't know if you want to do this, but if it makes a big difference to you, but we've done something called the floating valuation when we're not getting anywhere with the investor. Floating valuation. Okay, so what this means, the floating valuation, we can do this together. What's your primary metric? Number of users or?
I mean, now in the case, it's the contracts. We're signing real estate companies, and but we're still in piloting phase, so we don't have recurring revenue, but we have paid pilots.
All right. So the way we've done this, so you have number of contracts. I'm going to say 0, 200, 300. What's another metric for you? Like revenue or?
Yeah, will be revenue, yeah, per contract. Or we're calculating what they are usually ask is how much is per month you're charging and how much is the lifetime value and average client value per year. ACV, it's called.
Client value per year.
Average client value per year. Yep.
Okay, so I'm just doing random math, okay? And then we're doing this. So we usually pick 2 metrics. In your case, it's number of contracts and average value. And we say if we do this at 8, and the last one would be 10, right? So when it comes time to convert, you have between 200 to 300 contracts, and the average value per contract is $20 to $30. Your valuation changes from 8 to 10, right? And then anything in the middle here would be 9.5. This could be 9, right? So you can fill in this table. So we have where we put 2. We don't do more than 2. You can put an infinite number of variables. It becomes too complicated. So we just tell them, look, give me 8 and I'll give you 10. But in order for you to give me 10, you, the investor, what do you need this number to be? The green one and the purple one, right? Have the investor say, I need to see 500 contracts and an average of 50, for example. Then you work backwards. So if you hit those targets, you get your 10. That's usually a good way to bridge. This is only good if the difference is small, right? 1, 2, 3. If you want 10 and they're saying 1, this is very difficult to do.
Yeah, I understand. But good one. Since we're speaking numbers and average contracts, I might propose this. So,
yeah, we have done it before, and it's worked. It's worked before. Most people see the difference. Yeah.
And just to ask it, that means that in the safe, we'll have 2 triggers, 2 caps.
Actually, it's in the side letter. We usually say it's 8.
Okay.
Right? And in the side letter, we'll say at the time of conversion, the 8 will become X, and X is this table.
Okay.
The investor usually wants to see 8, right? They're very nervous. They want to see the 8 number, but you can increase it if you hit certain targets.
Okay, good, very good tip. I can try. Doesn't, yeah.
Why not? Okay, going back. Okay, actually, that is it. That is. We do have. Someone asked ESOP, so we do have this. I'll share this. with everyone. So here we have, especially when you're early on, you want to know how much percentage to give your employees. So we say in the beginning, you give your employees, well, you don't give a lot of people ESOP. These are the ranges we see. You know, a junior person gets 0.5, more senior will get 2-3%. Part-time, anyone have a part-time person who wants ESOP? That's usually a technical founder, co-founder. Anyone with a part-time Christian? Again, you have someone.
We have two guys that are part-time, but we actually agreed on percentage, and they're vesting on half-time until they work part-time. When they go full-time, we will start vesting full-time. That's what we agreed.
Okay. So with part-time people, we usually don't do time-based vesting because you don't know what they're doing all day. They're not in your office all the time. Maybe you talk to them once a week. You don't have a lot of visibility on what they're doing. So with part-time people, we do milestones. So we say, I'll give you 1% if you deliver a beta version, and I'll give you another 1% if it goes live. So we usually do specific deliverables and a timeline for the deliverables, and we give shares based on the deliverable. If they don't deliver, they don't get shares. Advisors. Anyone have advisors who asked for a percentage? Come on, anyone else? Karakos, Raed. I know we went over.
Hisham, could you, I've read about phantom shares. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so phantom shares are used in Germany primarily for tax reasons. So they are, so ESOP, equity incentive, phantom shares, virtual shares. Yeah, I think those are the four. They are all under the same bucket, which is I want to give shares to employees, but I don't want them to get involved in the day-to-day. So options, you say, I'm going to give you the right to buy. So they're not on your cap table. They have the right to buy shares. So if you need them, they're not a shareholder, so you don't need them to sign anything. What we do non-voting stock, which is they are on the cap table, but they don't vote, so I never need their consent. Phantom and virtual shares are very similar to options, which is you own, or sometimes they call them shadow shares. Again, unless I know they do this in Germany, we've had to do this a few times because of some tax rule there. So I think the basic premise here is we do everything standard unless there's a reason to deviate. So I think that's the lesson here is unless you're investing in a Dutch company and there's a huge tax implication, if we do options, then we'll do phantom shares. But they operate exactly the same as options. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, clear. Thanks.
Okay. Good. Okay. Anyone with an advisor? No one with an advisor. Okay. We'll share this. This has examples of how vesting works. When shares vest, what's a good lever, what's a bad lever. Let's see, anything else? This is our contact info. So we'll send that also. Thank you, guys. I know we went over, but thank you for your patience. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Hisham. Thank you very much.
أهلا شرفنا.
Hisham, thank you for your time and thank you for all the valuable information. I think you have been in the ecosystem for a while and you have seen this around the world. How do you see the MENA region is going regarding the startups and the investment and the whole ecosystem? I believe it's a bit new. So where do you see that we are going?
I think the main issue we have is we have private companies shaping policy. And what do I mean by this? So if we go to the US, and this is always a scary thing. So if we go to the US, we have something called the National Venture Capital Association. This is nonprofit. It's been around, I think, for 50 years. They set the standards. They tell you what a normal safe note is. They tell you what NVCA, where is it? Model legal documents. So these are the model legal documents in the US. They've been around for 30, 40 years. Everyone knows them. They are terrible. I hate them. They're not very well written because they were written a long time ago before lawyers were taught how to write in English, right? It's a lot of legalese. But we still use them because everyone else uses them. We have an issue in MENA. We have associations, but we don't have someone that's sort of more objective that says this is what everyone should do. This is what we recommend as a nonprofit, as an association. We have private firms, private companies telling you, oh, you should go to Cayman, you should register your company in Timbuktu. But we don't have this sort of objective or sort of baseline and we have two. We have one in the UAE and we have one in Saudi. Right? We have two. The US only has one, and they're competing. So we have an issue of baseline, I think. So a lot of what I'm saying goes against what private players are pushing. Like there's a huge push to go to ADGM. Actually, it's an amazing amount of marketing goes into it. But I don't know if that's the best thing for us. I really don't know. Same thing with SPVs. I don't know if someone has done an SPV or grouped investors. There's a push towards a certain structure for SPVs because there are private companies that make money doing it, but there's nothing sort of more objective. We're lucky. We're a small shop. I can just speak my mind. I don't really care what the repercussions are. I don't know if that's helpful or not, Abdullah.
Well, Hisham, I think it's the startups are investing in startups. So the VCs are startups, we're startups. It's a very new ecosystem. But I believe in Saudi Arabia, we have جمعية الاستثمار الجريء. They are trying their best. And even in UAE, I think they're trying their best. So if that is your point or the most concern point, I think we're going good enough. But it's not that good speed, but I think it's a good approach at the end, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, especially Saudis doing amazing work in setting the standard. But yeah, I think we need to decide as a region what is the standard that we want to adopt. Do we want to adopt our own? Do we want to follow the US? Do we want to follow the UK? But I just did a deal on the Singaporean Venture Capital Association one for some guy in the UAE. Why? We should just
That
have
makes sense.
that we all follow, right?
So I believe that MENA region gonna make their own rules as of now.
Yeah.
Or we are already making our own rules. We will not follow Silicon Valley or Singapore or Delaware or anywhere. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, we should start somewhere. We need to.
I think I lost him or
I'm back. Sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
You were saying?
Oh, I was saying we need to modify for our region. We can't just blindly copy what other people are doing.
It can be possible, Hisham, by big players such as yourself. So we have to put our touch. We have to make that possible.
But
So thank you so much. I
Yes.
won't take much of your time. It was
Thank
really good to hear from you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gustav. By the way, are you Goose on the WhatsApp channel
I am.
Gustav?
Yes,
From Top Gun?
exactly. That's the one.
Okay. But which Top Gun? The one from the 80s or the new one?
The 80s is always better.
This is-
Yeah.
okay.
The original.
Thank you, guys.
Oh,
Thank you so
Hisham,
much.
sorry, just one quick question. If I'd like you to hear your thoughts quickly regarding the question, the role play between the co-founders when it comes to who is looking into the financials, who is not looking. What's your just quick thoughts? I know we went over
So-
on this.
There's so the co-founders, you can't have two technical, you need a diversity of skill sets in co-founders. If you have two technical or two business or two sales, they start butting heads. So it's good to have one business, one technical, and then the finance, they can either hire someone like you or they can hire someone. But co-founders, it's very important to have diversity of skill set, not geography. We've seen co-founders say, I'm the sales guy in Saudi and I'm the sales guy in Morocco. That's not diversity of skill set, right? You have two salespeople running the startup. But in terms of finance, they don't like it. That's why people like you exist, right? No one wants to go through unless they're a previous accountant and they enjoy it. But founders tend to be forward-looking. They want to discuss vision and sales and how to grow and change the world.
No, but let me be clear here. Sorry, so what I'm saying, yes, regardless whether they have somebody on board for the finance aspect. So I'm
Sorry, you cut out.
like, okay, you care about the technical, I care about the board and strategic and the financial. It's regardless who will speak with, whether fractional, they will do it themselves. But this type of clarity has to be defined between themselves. That's what
Oh, yeah.
you recommend that it has
Yeah.
to be clearly defined by themselves. They need to know who's going to play this role and who's doing what, etc. That's
Yes.
it has to be sorted out internally. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, it does. And we have, again, we'll put this in, but we have a little cheat sheet for founders to fill out because they don't want to write job descriptions. The name of the founder, who's putting in time, cash, who's putting in their office, who's going to be on the board. So we make all founders at least fill this in, right? So we have some knowledge who's going to do what, who's in charge of filing tax returns, who's in charge of updating the investors. And we also have a list of reserved matters. So let's say you have two co-founders. The assumption is either one can make whatever decision they want, except for these. This is a very long list. You don't have to pick everything, but we have a big list. They pick. So the ones in yellow are the ones most people pick that require both co-founders to agree to. I want to liquidate the company or I want to sell it, then both. But if it's I want to lease office here or I want to hire a new admin assistant, you don't. So we know what the expectation is.
Great. Yeah, I like that. Thank you very much for this insights.
We've seen many co-founders fight over who buys the coffee who buys the paper for the print, right? Thank you, guys. And if you have feedback, anything we can do better next time, we've been doing this a while, but we always like to improve with each one. So please share it with Goose. I'm going to call you Goose, man. You need this to yourself. Right?
Great session. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank
Hisham.
you, guys. All right. Take
Thank
care.
you so much,
Thank you
guys.
again, Hisham. Thank you.
Appreciate everyone joining.
Bye. Bye.